Chosen one. Listen closely, because what I'm about to reveal will explain battles you never deserved, storms you never caused, and a pressure that never made sense. Something has been happening around you, something fierce, something invisible, something relentless. And deep down, you've felt it. You've sensed that the intensity of your recent struggles has not been ordinary. They have been targeted, precise, intentional. Here is the shocking truth. You are not under attack because you are weak. You are under attack because you were marked by heaven. Before you even understood your calling, before you recognized your strength, before you knew your own spiritual authority, the enemy saw something written over your life. A seal, a divine imprint, a heavenly marking that told the realm of darkness, this one has purpose, this one has potential, this one is chosen. And ever since that moment, you've noticed that the battles you face look different from the battles of others. You've watched people around you live casually, unbothered, unshaken, while you navigate warfare that feels disproportionate to your circumstances. You've wondered why simple things become complicated for you. Why doors that open easily for others require a fight from you. Why certain people feel threatened by your presence, even when you say nothing at all. It's because heaven marked you. And once heaven marks you, hell assigns resistance. You've been feeling the tension spiritually, emotionally, mentally. Attacks rising out of nowhere. Distractions appearing at the very moment you find clarity. People shifting, withdrawing, misreading your intentions. A heaviness that comes and goes like unseen waves. And you keep asking yourself, why now? Why me? Why all at once, you're about to find out. Because what you're experiencing is not random. It is not accidental. And it is not a sign that you're losing. It is a sign that your identity has been recognized by the spiritual realm. Something about your purpose has become too loud to ignore. Something about your next season has become too significant to let pass uncontested. You are under spiritual attack because you carry something the enemy fears. But here's what you must understand. The very pressure you're feeling is proof that heaven invested something in you that cannot be stolen. You have been marked, sealed, claimed by divine authority, and the warfare surrounding you is simply a reaction to what God has placed within you. Stay with me, because in the moments ahead, I'm going to reveal the 7 signs that prove this spiritual attack is not a setback, but a confirmation. This is where everything begins to make sense. And as you let that truth settle into your spirit, something deeper begins to rise within you, an awareness that what you're facing is not just happening to you, but happening around you because of who walks with you. There is a divine presence that has been closer than your breath, guiding you even in the moments when you felt the most abandoned. You may not have realized it, but heaven has been involved in every battle you've endured. Because God does not mark someone without also surrounding them. If you quiet your heart for a moment, you'll sense it, the weight of something holy lingering near you. A reassurance that the attacks you're experiencing have not caught God by surprise. They are not signs of His absence, but indicators of His involvement. Whenever God lays His hand on someone, the spiritual atmosphere adjusts. The invisible world takes notice. And that is what has happened to you. There is a message being delivered to your life right now, and it comes with the authority of heaven. A message that explains why your spirit has felt stirred, why your sleep has been restless, why your discernment has been sharper than usual. God has been preparing you to recognize the difference between ordinary obstacles and targeted warfare. He has been training you to see beyond what your natural eyes can detect. You have been stepping into a higher level of spiritual awareness, and with elevation comes exposure to the enemy's tactics, exposure to hidden motives, exposure to inner wounds you didn't know remained unhealed. But every revelation is intentional. Every shift has purpose. Nothing in your current season is accidental. There is a divine orchestration happening behind the scenes, and the pressure you're feeling is part of the spiritual alignment God is arranging. He is pulling you out of old cycles, detaching you from patterns that no longer serve your destiny, and positioning you for breakthroughs you cannot yet imagine. And whenever heaven begins to reposition someone, the enemy tries to resist, distract, and derail. But God is not just watching from a distance. He is in the middle of this with you. Feel the weight of that for a moment. The attacks you've been experiencing are actually confirmation of the attention heaven has placed on your life. God's hand has been resting on you, shielding you in ways you may never fully understand. Even when the battle felt overwhelming, something always kept you from breaking completely. Something always pulled you back from the edge. That something was a hymn. There is a reason this message found you. A reason it resonates so deeply. A reason your spirit is stirring even now. It is because the one who marked you is speaking through this moment. God is unveiling what has been hidden, clarifying what has been confusing, and reminding you that the spiritual realm recognizes the weight of your calling, even when you don't fully see it yet. And now that your heart is open and your spirit is attentive, it's time to uncover what has truly been happening. It's time to reveal the deeper meaning behind the warfare. It's time to understand the prophecy that has been unfolding over your life without your awareness. In the next moments, the entire picture will begin to shift. What has been stirring around you is not random turbulence. It is the unmistakable signature of a life that carries prophetic weight. And now that your spirit is positioned to understand, the truth can finally be unveiled. You are under spiritual attack because heaven has declared something over you that the enemy cannot undo. You have been chosen for a work that disrupts darkness, a purpose that breaks generational patterns, a calling that awakens slumbering destinies. And whenever God appoints someone like this, spiritual resistance intensifies. This is the prophecy unfolding over your life, one you may not have recognized, but one you have been living inside for far longer than you realized. Heaven marked you. And when heaven marks someone, warfare becomes a language. The battles you're facing are not punishments. They are indicators. Each attack is a signal that your purpose has reached a point of visibility in the spiritual realm. Something about your obedience, your resilience, your endurance has disrupted the plans that once aimed to keep you small. The enemy has realized he no longer has access to the version of you he once manipulated. You've grown, you've awakened, you've shifted. You've stepped into spiritual authority without even noticing that you crossed a threshold. The moment heaven marked you for elevation, the realm of darkness responded with agitation. Feel that truth for a moment. Your calling reverberated beyond what you could see. Your growth created shockwaves in the invisible realm. Your presence, yes, your presence has become disruptive to spiritual forces that once operated comfortably around you. This is why old temptations suddenly resurfaced. This is why unexpected conflicts erupted. This is why fatigue tried to crush you in moments you should have felt your strongest. This is why confusion appeared right when clarity began to form. This is why isolation intensified just as purpose started to rise. It wasn't because you were backsliding. It wasn't because you were doing something wrong. It was because you started stepping into who you were always meant to be. And with every step you took, the enemy felt ground shifting beneath his feet. But here is what the enemy underestimated. You were not stepping alone. You were being guided, pulled, strengthened, prepared. God has been constructing something within you, something unshakable, something refined, something fortified. And the spiritual attacks you've been facing are part of the refining process. They are clearing out weak foundations, exposing fragile attachments, and forcing you to see what is aligned with your destiny and what is not. You see, spiritual attack is often the evidence of spiritual emergence. Just as a seed must break before it grows, your life has been cracking open. Layers have been shedding. Old versions of you have been dissolving. You've been losing your taste for environments that once satisfied you. You've been feeling drained by conversations that once entertained you. You've been pushed out of places that no longer match your spiritual frequency. That discomfort is not personal, it's prophetic. Heaven is shifting you from who you were into who you are becoming. And in that transition, the enemy attempts to sabotage momentum. He tries to cloud your mind so you won't see your progress. He tries to weigh down your emotions so you won't notice your strength. He tries to isolate you so you'll question your worth. Because if he can distract you, he can delay you. But he cannot stop what God has initiated. You are in a season where the spiritual pressure around you is directly proportional to the spiritual power being awakened within you. And the more God calls you forward, the more the enemy attempts to pull you backward. But your footing is stronger now. Your spirit is wiser. Your discernment has sharpened. You are beginning to recognize the difference between a spiritual attack and a spiritual assignment. And that is the prophecy being unveiled. You are being elevated, and your warfare is the proof. Heaven marked you for influence, so the enemy targeted your voice. Heaven marked you for breakthrough, so the enemy attacked your hope. Heaven marked you for connection, so the enemy stirred conflict around you. Heaven marked you for clarity, so the enemy released confusion. Heaven marked you for purpose, so the enemy tried to exhaust you. But every attack is backfiring because each one is pushing you deeper into your awakening. What you are experiencing is not the collapse of your life. It is the confrontation of your destiny. And as this prophecy unfolds, you're going to start seeing the signs that confirm everything you've been feeling was real, spiritual, intentional. And now, with your spirit alert and your understanding expanded, it's time to journey into the deeper layers of what this truly means. The attacks surrounding you have a spiritual architecture, and the meaning behind them is more profound than you've ever imagined. And when you begin to see your battles through the lens of prophecy rather than misfortune, the entire meaning of your experience deepens. Suddenly, the patterns begin to reveal themselves. Suddenly, the weight you carried starts to make sense. Because spiritual attack is never just about what the enemy is doing, it's about what God is awakening. There is a spiritual law woven throughout Scripture and reflected in every divine calling. Whenever heaven marks someone, they undergo spiritual confrontation before they step into spiritual manifestation. The attack always precedes the announcement. The warfare always intensifies before the assignment becomes visible. This is the rhythm of the chosen. Look at Joseph, marked by dreams long before he saw the palace. Hell tried to suffocate him in pits and prisons because of the vision placed inside him. Look at Moses, marked from birth as a deliverer. His life was hunted before he could even speak. Look at David, anointed in secret, immediately after he faced giants, rejection, jealousy, and betrayal. Look at Jesus, declared as God's beloved Son, and the enemy responded instantly with temptation and spiritual assault in the wilderness. The pattern is consistent. The marking attracts attention. The calling attracts confrontation. You are living inside that same spiritual rhythm. This is why your life has felt heavier ever since you started growing spiritually. It's why certain friendships became uncomfortable. It's why old habits began resisting your attempts to break them. It's why attacks felt more strategic than chaotic. You were not simply going through life. You were being positioned, purified, and prepared. Spiritual attack is often the indicator that God is exposing what cannot accompany you into your next dimension. It is a divine filter, a cleansing, a separation. What you're facing is meant to reveal the strength you didn't know you had and the chains you didn't know you carried. And here is where the meaning deepens further. The enemy is not attacking your past, he is attacking your potential. He is fighting the version of you that heaven already sees. He is resisting the authority you are stepping into. He is threatened not by what you've done, but by who you are becoming. Your spirit has been expanding. Your discernment has been activating. Your calling has been breaking through the surface, and the enemy recognized the shift before you did. That's why your mind became a battlefield. That's why your emotions felt fragile. That's why sudden waves of discouragement tried to crush you. That's why the enemy whispered lies that sounded like your own thoughts, hoping you wouldn't notice the source. But even in that intensity, God has been working with precision. He is teaching you to recognize spiritual frequency, what is of Him and what is not. He is teaching you to trust the unseen more than the visible. He is teaching you to lean into intuition, discernment, and divine guidance. Because as you rise spiritually, you must become fluent in spiritual warfare. You are not being punished. You are being strengthened. You are not being abandoned. You are being refined. You are not being attacked because you are failing. You are being attacked because you are awakening. And beneath all of this lies one more profound truth. God allows certain attacks not to break you, but to reveal you. The pressure exposes the identity hidden beneath your pain. It uncovers your authority. It reveals the warrior you never realized you had become. When spiritual attack enters a life marked by heaven, something powerful begins to unfold. Discernment sharpens strength. Rises clarity emerges, and the soul steps into maturity. You start to realize that you are not the victim of your circumstances. You are the vessel of a divine assignment. And now that you understand the spiritual meaning behind your warfare, we can finally uncover the evidence, the unmistakable signs that prove you are under attack because heaven marked you. These signs will not just inform you, they will confirm you. Now that the deeper meaning has settled into your awareness, it's time to bring into the light the undeniable signs, those moments, experiences, and shifts that confirm you have indeed been under spiritual attack because heaven has marked you. As you hear each one, something inside you will resonate because this isn't theory. This is the story your spirit has been living. Sign 1. Sudden unexplained heaviness that appears out of nowhere. You can be fine one moment, breathing normally, functioning with clarity, and then without warning, it hits. A weight, a pressure, a cloud that feels foreign to your nature. You don't have a reason to feel this heavy, yet your spirit feels pressed. This heaviness is not emotional weakness. It is spiritual interference. An atmosphere assigned to disrupt your momentum. But the fact that you feel it means you are spiritually sensitive, and sensitivity is a mark of divine calling. Sign 2. Increased confusion right during your moments of clarity. The enemy cannot stop your purpose, so he attempts to distort your perception. You've noticed how clarity arrives, then suddenly slips through your fingers. Ideas that were sharp become tangled. Decisions that felt clear turn foggy. This is because you have reached a spiritual phase where clarity is dangerous to darkness. It exposes lies and empowers direction. The attack on your mind is proof that your insight is awakening. Sign 3. People around you shift in unexpected ways. They become distant, cold, easily offended, or strangely uncomfortable around you. Some begin to misread your intentions. Others exit your life without explanation. You may think you did something wrong, but this is spiritual alignment in disguise. Your elevation exposes environments that cannot contain your next season. Heaven begins to separate you from those who cannot walk with your calling. The discomfort is a sign of divine rearrangement. Sign 4. Distractions intensify the moment you decide to grow. Every time you commit to spiritual discipline, to pray, to focus, to build, to heal, something pulls at your attention. Your phone, your thoughts, your schedule, old patterns, even emotional triggers. These distractions are not coincidences. They are strategic. The enemy fears your focus because a focused chosen one becomes unstoppable. The level of distraction reveals the level of calling. Sign 5. Nighttime warfare. Restlessness, vivid dreams, or internal agitation. Sleep becomes a battleground. Your spirit feels awake even when your body is exhausted. Dreams become symbolic, chaotic, or unusually intense. You may wake up feeling drained as though you fought battles in your sleep. This is because your spirit is active and the realm of darkness knows you are rising. Nighttime is often when spiritual activity is most concentrated, and those who are marked often feel this war most strongly. Sign 6. Things break down right before breakthroughs. Opportunities delay, plans fall apart, unexpected obstacles appear. And it always seems to happen right when things were finally coming together. This is not coincidence, it is collision. Breakthrough attracts resistance. The enemy applies pressure closest to the moment of divine release, hoping you will quit prematurely. But the breakdown is actually confirmation that the breakthrough is near. Heaven intensifies its movement, and darkness retaliates. Sign 7. Your spirit senses you are close to something you cannot explain. Even in the middle of chaos, there is a strange inner knowing that something is shifting. Your spirit whispers that change is near, even when your circumstances do not reflect it. You feel the tension of becoming. You feel the pull of destiny. You feel the stirring of purpose. And this spiritual intuition is not imagination. It's the signal that heaven has placed something on your life the enemy can no longer ignore. These signs are not subtle. They are the fingerprints of spiritual warfare aimed at a life chosen for impact. And the fact that you recognize these signs means your discernment is active and your spirit is awake. You are not imagining your battles, you are interpreting them correctly. But these signs also point to something deeper. The internal struggle, the hidden emotional and spiritual challenges that emerge when someone is being spiritually shaped. And that is the next layer of your journey. And while the outward signs reveal the reality of spiritual attack, the more difficult battles are often the ones happening inside you, silent, private, hidden from the eyes of others. These inner challenges are not weaknesses. They are spiritual growing pains. They emerge when heaven begins to expand you beyond who you have been, stretching you into who you must become. One of the first hidden challenges is the emotional exhaustion that arrives without warning. It's not physical tiredness, it's soul-level fatigue. You're functioning but not fully present. You're moving but not inspired. You feel like you're constantly carrying something unseen. This weariness is not a sign of failure. It's the weight of spiritual transition. Your spirit is shifting, your discernment is sharpening, and your inner world is shedding layers that no longer belong to your destiny. Then comes the quiet battle with self-doubt. Even when you know you're called, even when you've seen God move in your life, even when you've survived storms you never speak about, there are moments when you question yourself. You wonder if you're strong enough, wise enough, worthy enough. These doubts don't appear because you're unqualified. They appear because the enemy senses your growth. Attack on identity is the oldest tactic in spiritual warfare. The enemy knows that if he can fracture your confidence, he can distort your direction. There is also the challenge of isolation. Not the kind where you are physically alone, but the kind where you feel misunderstood in rooms full of people. The deeper your calling becomes, the fewer people can relate to your inner world. You start noticing that you can sense things others overlook. You perceive spiritual shifts that others ignore. And slowly you stop trying to explain yourself because your experiences don't fit into ordinary language. This loneliness is not abandonment. It is separation for elevation. God isolates before He reveals. Another hidden challenge is the internal war between who you were and who you are becoming. Old versions of you try to pull you back. Old habits, old coping mechanisms, old patterns of thinking. You feel the tension between comfort and calling, between familiarity and destiny. Spiritual attack often intensifies during this transition, attempting to drag you into outdated cycles. But this internal war is evidence that transformation is underway. And perhaps the most painful challenge of all is the silence of God. Not His absence, but His silence. There are seasons when heaven feels quiet, when your prayers feel unanswered, when clarity feels far away. Yet even in the silence, God is working with precision. He is strengthening your spiritual hearing. He is teaching you to walk by faith, not by reassurance. He is molding your character, your resilience, your capacity. These hidden challenges are not punishments. They are preparation. You're being strengthened for battles you will soon conquer. You're being stretched for responsibilities you haven't yet carried. You're being shaped for opportunities you haven't yet seen. Every internal struggle is a sign that heaven is constructing something powerful within you. And now that you understand the challenges, it's time to receive what heaven wants you to do. In response, the divine instructions crafted specifically for your spirit in this season. And now that the weight of your hidden battles has been brought into the light, heaven begins to speak with clarity. Because spiritual attack is never meant to leave you disoriented. It is meant to usher you into alignment. Every chosen one reaches a point where God transitions them from merely enduring warfare to outmaneuvering it. That transition begins with divine instruction, steps heaven wants you to take so you can rise above what has been resisting you. The first instruction is this: stay spiritually anchored. The enemy's primary strategy is to disconnect you from your source, your prayer, your peace, your grounding. When heaviness rises, when confusion swells, when distraction pulls, your anchor must remain firm. You don't need long, elaborate rituals. You need consistency. Whispered prayers, quiet moments of surrender, stillness before God. These small acts create spiritual stability, even when the atmosphere around you is shaking. The second instruction: guard your atmosphere. Not everyone can have access to your spirit in this season. Conversations carry energy. Environments carry frequency. People carry intentions that are not always visible. You must be selective about what you allow near your spirit. Protect your peace the way a warrior protects their armor. This is not isolation, it is stewardship. Heaven cannot elevate someone who is constantly drained by what they permit. The third instruction: pay attention to patterns, not moments. The enemy rarely attacks randomly. He attacks rhythmically. Notice what triggers heaviness. Notice what steals your focus. Notice when confusion arises. These patterns are spiritual roadmaps, revealing where your growth threatens darkness most. When you can identify the pattern, you can break the cycle. The fourth instruction: speak what heaven says, not what the battle says. Your words carry authority because your life carries assignment. The enemy works overtime to influence your language. He wants you to speak defeat, doubt, exhaustion. But heaven instructs you to speak alignment. Declare peace when you feel pressure. Declare clarity when you feel confusion. Declare strength when you feel weak. Your voice is not just communication, it is spiritual legislation. The fifth instruction: detach from what God has outgrown in your life. Some doors close because heaven is redirecting you. Some relationships shift because God is protecting you. Some environments become uncomfortable because they can no longer contain your calling. Release what God is removing. Letting go is not loss, it is preparation for replacement. The sixth instruction: strengthen your spirit more than your schedule. You don't need to do more. You need to become more. Spend less time trying to fix what is breaking and more time becoming the version of yourself that cannot be broken. You win spiritual battles by growing spiritually, not by striving emotionally. And the seventh instruction: walk like someone who is marked. Lift your head. Steady your steps. Recognize that heaven's imprint on your life is not fragile, it is fortified. You are not navigating this season alone. Angelic protection surrounds you. Divine strategy guides you. God's hand is on your life in ways you cannot yet see. These instructions are not burdens, they are invitations. Invitations to rise, to transform, to step into a level of spiritual maturity where the attacks no longer intimidate you because you finally understand what they reveal. And once you begin walking in these instructions, something powerful begins to shift. The fear fades, the confusion weakens, and the awareness of God's presence grows stronger than the battle surrounding you. Now, it is time to enter the next dimension of this message, the reassurance heaven has been waiting for you to receive. And as you begin to walk in those divine instructions, something subtle yet powerful starts to unfold within you. The battle doesn't immediately disappear, but your posture in the battle changes. You begin to realize that the attacks against you are not signs of abandonment, they are proof of divine presence. Because God has never stepped away from you for even a moment. In fact, He has been shielding you in ways your eyes could never fully perceive. If you could see the spiritual realm the way heaven sees it, you would understand that every attack launched against you has already collided with divine boundaries. The enemy was never allowed to touch your calling. He was never allowed to take your purpose. He was never permitted to destroy what God established in you. What you felt was pressure, but what you were protected from was far greater. There have been moments when you thought you were breaking, yet heaven whispered, "Not this one, not my chosen." There were nights when fear wrapped around your mind like a shadow, yet light stood guard over your soul. There were days when discouragement felt like it would hollow you out, yet something sacred kept you from collapsing. That something was God's hand. The enemy aimed for your identity, but God placed a shield around your spirit. The enemy tried to sabotage your direction, but God illuminated a path even when you didn't realize you were being guided. The enemy hoped to overwhelm you emotionally, but God fortified you internally, giving you strength that made no sense for the season you were in. And here is the assurance heaven wants you to carry. You are surrounded. Angels have been dispatched on your behalf. Favor has been woven into your steps. Protection has been assigned to your journey. You have never walked alone, not in the confusion, not in the heaviness, not in the silent nights when doubt felt loud. God has been closer than your breath, nearer than your thoughts, more present than your fears. Even when you couldn't feel Him, He was working. Even when you didn't hear Him, He was speaking in ways beyond your awareness. And this truth should settle into your spirit with a peace deeper than understanding. The battle you're facing is not a sign that you're losing. It is a sign that you're guarded, chosen, and destined for more than the enemy wants you to realize. Now, with protection assured and your spirit steadied, it's time to look ahead to the transformation that awaits you when this warfare completes its work. And as the assurance of God's protection settles into your spirit, something extraordinary begins to happen within you. The battle that once felt like it was breaking you suddenly becomes the very force shaping you. The pressure forms strength. The confusion produces clarity. The warfare that once intimidated you begins revealing the depth of your resilience. You do not simply survive spiritual attack, you evolve through it. Because every chosen one undergoes a moment when the struggle transforms them. A moment when the old version of you dissolves and a new identity emerges, stronger, clearer, more aligned with the purpose heaven placed within you. And whether you realize it or not, you are standing in that moment right now. You are becoming someone the enemy hoped you'd never discover. You are stepping into authority you didn't know you carried. You are awakening to spiritual maturity that frightens darkness itself. This transformation doesn't happen overnight. It is forged in the very flames that tried to consume you. The heaviness taught you endurance. The isolation taught you vision. The confusion taught you discernment. The spiritual attacks taught you how to stand when everything inside you wanted to fall. Every battle added something to you: strength, discernment, patience, awareness, spiritual depth. And as this transformation continues, something else begins to unfold: fulfillment. Not in the sense of everything becoming easy or perfect, but in the sense that you begin to walk in the identity heaven has been shaping within you. You start seeing through spiritual lenses instead of emotional ones. You stop internalizing the attacks as personal failures and start recognizing them as indicators of divine movement. You stop fearing resistance and start interpreting it. Then a shift occurs. Your mind becomes clearer. Your spirit becomes steadier. Your discernment becomes sharper. Your confidence becomes grounded not in ego, but in calling. You begin making decisions that align with your destiny instead of your fears. You begin recognizing who belongs in your life and who cannot walk the next mile with you. You begin stepping into opportunities with boldness instead of hesitation. You begin to feel heaven's momentum behind you. Doors opening, insights, flowing new strength, rising. This is the fulfillment of spiritual attack. The emergence of a warrior who cannot be manipulated by the same tactics that once overwhelmed them. The attacks lose their power because you have outgrown their reach. The enemy loses his advantage because you have learned his patterns. Your spirit stands firmer, taller, unshakable. You finally see yourself the way heaven sees you, not fragile but fortified. And once you step into this identity, you carry an atmosphere that darkness cannot invade. You carry a presence that shifts environments. You carry a calling that resonates louder than fear. You become a living threat to every assignment meant to stop you. This is the version of you the enemy fought so hard to prevent. This is the fulfillment heaven always saw within you. This is the transformation your warfare was designed to birth. And now, with purpose awakened and identity solidified, there is only one thing left: the blessing heaven's final affirmation spoken over your life. And now, as this message comes to its final breath, heaven releases a blessing over you, one that seals everything spoken, everything revealed, everything awakened within your spirit. Let these words settle deeply into your heart, because they are not just encouragement, they are identity. You are not who the battle tried to convince you that you were. You are who the fire revealed. Strong, steady, chosen, marked. You carry a calling that darkness cannot cancel. You carry a light that warfare cannot extinguish. You carry an authority that was formed in silence, pressure, and persistence. So hear this blessing clearly. You are rising. Every attack that was meant to break you is becoming fuel for your elevation. You are protected. No weapon formed against you, not one will fulfill its assignment. You are guided. Your steps are ordered, aligned, and surrounded by divine strategy. You are becoming. The version of you emerging from this season is stronger than anything you've ever faced. May your spirit remain sensitive to God's voice. May your discernment sharpen with every step. May your peace deepen beyond understanding. May your strength multiply as you walk into your calling. And may every attack that rises against you only remind you of the greatness within you. You are not under attack because you are weak. You are under attack because you are marked. And now you walk forward, not as someone hoping to survive, but as someone destined to overcome. This is your confirmation. This is your awakening. This is your divine turnaround. If this message spoke to your spirit, share your testimony in the comments. Type "I am marked by heaven" to seal this word over your life. And subscribe for more prophetic messages that speak directly to your calling, your purpose, and your spiritual identity. Your journey is unfolding. Your breakthrough is approaching. Your destiny is waiting. Walk forward. Heaven is with you.